Back in 1989, Nintendo released the Nintendo Game Boy handheld to the world. It was a smashing success. Part of that success can be attributed to the fact that Nintendo decided to bundle in Tetris with every single Game Boy sold. This was a wildly successful tactic, as the Game Boy went on to be one of the best-selling pieces of gaming hardware of all time. Now, why was this tactic successful? Well, at the time, Tetris was one of the most popular gaming franchises. It had truly taken over the world, as you could find Tetris at any arcade, and it was a wildly successful seller on the NES. So making it portable made sense, and packing it in with a new handheld, that was an instant system seller. Back in 1990 in Japan and 1991 in all other regions, Sega had an idea. They were about to release their handheld competition to the Game Boy, the Sega Game Gear, and they needed something that would sell a system. Seeing the success that Tetris had, they decided, what puzzle game could we pack in? The answer to that was Columns. While not being as successful as Tetris, Columns definitely had its fans. It was relatively popular in the arcade and on the Sega Genesis, so including this with the Game Gear did make some sense. It had easy pick-up and play appeal, just like Tetris, and it could appeal to even the most casual of gamer. How does the Game Gear version stack up? No pun intended. Let's go ahead and dive in. Columns is a fairly basic game with some good appeal. You line up 3 of the same colored jewels in a row vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. Unlike Tetris, there are no different shapes, just 3 blocks stacked on top of each other to create a column. As you clear lines, the blocks start coming down faster and faster. The game gets brutally difficult, in my opinion, more so than Tetris. The later speeds will make sure that you plan every single move out in advance. At least 2 to 3 moves need to be planned out in the later levels just to get by. Be sure to preemptively press that D-pad to go and control your column where you really want it to go in the later levels. I, for one, don't mind high difficulty in video games. In fact, I prefer it. The gameplay in Columns is simple, yet addicting. It made me want to come back for more, and I really didn't want to put it down when I was playing it for this review. One of the things that really keeps me coming back is in the later levels. It's very intense, and there's going to be a moment where you just rip off a massive combo that leads to a chain reaction where half the jewels disappear on the screen. It really is one of the most satisfying feelings in any puzzle game I've ever played. There are 3 different game modes in Columns. Multiplayer, which I unfortunately didn't get to partake in since I don't have a Game Gear link cable. There's Flash mode, where you must try and clear the flashing jewel on the very bottom of the screen. Or Original mode, which is basically endless mode. I spent almost my entire time playing in Original mode, as I just don't find Flash mode that appealing to me. The simple yet addictive nature of just trying to beat your high score the next time really is what makes Original mode shine. Let's talk about graphical presentation here. It looks bare bones and basic. Why? Well, it's basically a demake of a 16-bit Genesis game and an arcade game. Columns served as the back-end launch title with the system, and a color and backlit screen was the big Game Gear selling point. The visuals get the job done, there's just nothing here that stands out. Unfortunately, the most disappointing thing about Columns is the sound. The music really isn't that good at all. I know they were working with limited hardware, but Tetris sounded great on Game Boy. In fact, some of the Tetris music is some of the most iconic game music of all time. I wish a little more effort was put into the music of Columns. The sound effects are simply fine, nothing outstanding, but nothing that's going to grate on your ears. Out of the 3 music tracks to choose from, go with track C. That is what you're currently listening to here. Is Columns worth having on your Sega Game Gear? I'd say absolutely. I know I may have sounded kind of negative with the graphics and the sound, but really for me, the most important thing of any puzzle game is the gameplay. And Columns delivers that simple yet addictive gameplay that all the best puzzle games have, in spades. Another great thing about this game is that it can be had for as little as 99 cents. If you go to your local game store like I did and ask for Game Gear games, you're probably bound to find 5, 6, or maybe even 10 copies of it. This is now one of my go-to games before bed every night on my modded McWill Sega Game Gear. As always, thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, please hit that thumbs up button, or consider hitting the subscribe button. Every little bit helps. I stream retro games here on YouTube and on Twitch, here at Grand Retro Station, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Grand Retro Station. Thank you all for watching, and have a great rest of your evening, and a Happy New Year.